Today, we're going to be breaking down how you can read a DB's leverage when he is in press coverage and how you guys can structure your routes versus that specific leverage. Pretty much going to talk about like why that information is important, why it's important to know the leverage, all that good stuff today, you guys. So the first example we're going to be discussing is an inside leverage or inside shade DB. So anytime that we have a DB who's lined up inside shade, I guess like the best way to determine to look for his shade is to pay attention to the midline of his body, right? So this wide receiver's lined up here. He's on the left side of the field. So obviously his inside foot is up, so his right foot is going to be up. So it's his inside foot. If the DB's midline is even with the wide receiver's inside foot or even further to the inside than that, that's 100% guaranteed that he is playing inside shade or has inside leverage. So that's ultimately what we are looking for pre-snap. Now, the reason why this is important to look for pre-snap is it's how as a wide receiver we structure our plan off the line of scrimmage. As a wide receiver, you probably want to have, I would say, 5 to 6 different press releases that you are comfortable with, that you can use versus these different leverage situations and then be able to execute. So you see that inside shade coverage look, I already know, okay, I like this release, I like that release based on the route that you are ultimately running. Now, what this receiver is running here is he's going to be running a dig route. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of how he ran this route. It ultimately worked, but we're going to talk about why it probably isn't the best thing to do versus this leverage look, and then we'll talk about a couple more like positive examples of what you can do versus different leverage looks of the DB. But remember, this is inside shade because the midline of his body is even with the foot that is up. So let's play at full speed. So he gives just a quick jab to the outside and releases inside. Me personally, this makes me feel that this is probably like a mandatory inside release, but he's able to kind of do this simply because of where the ball is. The ball's on the right hash. He's the single receiver. There's not any other receivers to the inside. But let's talk about why maybe this isn't the best thing to do versus every situation, right? So if we have to run this 10 to 12 yard dig, and let's say we're this outside receiver over here, bottom of the numbers, but let's say we also have a slot receiver who is also running a dig. Let's just say it's a simple double dig concept where we have an 8-yard dig and then we have a 10-yard dig. But if you're a wide receiver and you have inside shade press, the reason why we look for his leverage is to determine what he is trying to take away. So he is trying to take away the inside route. He does not want me to run a dig. He doesn't want me to run a slant or a drag. He's trying to force me to the outside, aka the sideline. So if I try to just give him a quick move, he's still going to honor that leverage because that is his goal, is to protect his leverage. So if we force our route to the inside like Jeudy does right here and he gets hands, guys, you see how much his stem is going to the inside? If we have another slot receiver running a route, that is going to screw up the spacing of the play. We're going to be right on top of him. So you just have to know that this may not always be the best course of action. What I actually recommend and what I teach my wide receivers is that if we have an inside shade press guy, let's try to make him think we're doing what Jeudy just did. Like instead of giving just this like move right here, maybe we give like a crossover. We give like a 1 and then we give like a jab back inside 2, hold that leverage, take the outside release so you could keep play spacing. At the top of the route, maybe we stack him, which is where we get over the top of him. Or maybe he's right next to me and he's on my hip and I drop my hips and slip under him, but at least I maintain spacing from that slot receiver on the play. Now again, if you're a single receiver, coaches tell you it's a mandatory inside release, totally fine. I get that. I understand. And this probably isn't a bad release to go with. But again, that's just what I would recommend. But that's ultimately how we determine the leverage, you guys. You pay attention to the midline of his body. Now, let's go over some other leverage looks and some simple things that you guys can do to identify them. So this leverage look specifically is going to be head-up leverage. Now, we're going to discuss what head-up leverage is, how to look for it, why a DB will play it, and how he can disguise it. But first, you guys, if you're a receiver and you guys would like to train with us this offseason or a quarterback, we're going to be traveling out to 15 different cities across the entire U.S. for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver training camps. So, guys, we'll be coming out to San Francisco, Orlando, Florida. Both of those camps are completely sold out. We have no more available spots. But then we'll be coming out to Phoenix, Arizona, Charlotte, North Carolina, Austin, Texas. Those 3 camps, guys, literally have like 3 spots remaining in each one. So make sure we take advantage. All of our camps will sell out because we limit spots so we can work with each athlete individually, give them individualized, detailed coaching. So guys, if you would like to attend, again, check out that very first link in the description below. Very first link in the description below. That's where the information is. It's where you could sign up. We would love to have you there. Then, of course, we'll be going out to Las Vegas, Seattle, Chicago, Newark, Birmingham, Houston, Boston, Columbus, Boise, and Los Angeles, you guys. So again, want some more information? Very first link in that description below. We'd love to have you there. Let's get back to this video. So this is an example of head up leverage, right? So head up leverage is where the DB really isn't showing a shade. He's just right in front of me. So if his midline, so like midline is again, imaginary line that goes through like the center of his body, all the way from like the top of his head, all the way down through like to the floor to his feet, right? If his midline is even with our midline, that means he's in head up coverage. Now, the reason why a DB will play this, couple reasons, right? So like one, I would say it could be to disguise a leverage, right? So like, let's say pre-snap, he's head up like this. And let's say post-snap, the receiver starts his move and that DB jumps to the inside. He's trying to disguise that he's playing inside leverage because this receiver might be thinking, okay, cool, I'm going to give him a move and then go to the inside right now. But if he disguises it, then he jumps inside, that might screw up my route. And then vice versa, the opposite direction. Now, he also could be playing this just, I guess you could say, like, just be a little more patient and throw off what we were trying to do, not necessarily showing his hand. Maybe that's just how he likes to play press coverage and he feels like he's a little bit more disciplined. I find like this is a harder form of press coverage to play. I feel like only really talented DBs will play head up coverage, but you will see it. So the nice part about it is as a receiver, we kind of have a two-way go, as I call it. You could release inside or you could release outside if you wanted to. So he's doing this just quick like jab fake to the outside because he's running like a quick 5-yard flat or like a quick like 2-yard flat, if you will. So it's very, I guess you could say it's not easy to get separation, but it's an easy concept. It's a simple concept to understand. We're just going to make him miss to the outside and then go. We don't have to worry about him being outside leverage and then like attacking his inside shoulder or outside shoulder and then cutting under him. It's just a simple cut because he's in that head up leverage look. It gives us that two-way go ultimately, okay? So now let's talk about outside leverage. So this should be pretty simple for you guys. Again, remember, we pay attention to the midline of a DB's body. So this DB's midline is even with our outside foot. So just like the first example, this wide receiver is lined up on the left. And so his inside foot is up. In this case, it would be his right foot. His left foot is back. If the DB's midline is even with our back foot, that tells you that he's in outside leverage, right? Or even further outside than that. I've even seen that before. So that tells me, right? What does it tell me? He's trying to take away the outside route. So if I had to run some type of outside breaking route, like let's say like a 10-yard out, I probably wouldn't just force the outside release. Like remember how we saw Jerry Jeudy do? Like he just gives a move inside, force the outside release. Now again, are there times where you are running something called an MOR, which is a mandatory outside release? Yes, like you could run a fade ball. And if he's outside leverage, kind of tough. You know what I mean? You just got to give him the best move you can inside and then go to the outside and release the outside because that's what the play calls for. But if the play doesn't call for that and you have to run an out route or maybe a corner route, you'd be better off, okay, let's give him a fake, hold that leverage outside, take what he gives me inside, and let's work to try to stack him where he is trailing directly behind me. Then I maybe give him a move at the top and then go. Or he's running with me and he's right on my hip and I put my hand on the back of his shoulder. I drop my hips and I cut under him and like throw by. So guys, you could do either or. That's what we're looking for at this outside leverage look. Now, Ayuk here is running an inside breaking route. He's running a curl. So that should be easy money. But you see how he still attacks him outside to hold that leverage, takes the inside release, and then bam, he's got separation on that curl route. So again, it's just, fellas, the reason why I say we have to understand leverage, the things that we want to look for, or the reason why we want to look for leverage, I should say, is just, it tells you what the DB is trying to accomplish. Is he trying to take away the outside route? Is he trying to take away the inside route? Is he trying to disguise what he's doing? And as a receiver, we should have a plan for all of that. If we have a plan for all of that, then we are prepared off the line. We could play fast and we could get separation, just like this perfect example here from Ayuk.